Well, what is going on, everybody? Welcome, everybody, into the Hump Day Hotline on the Overreaction Buffalo Sports Network, powered by Believe. Man, it is so good to be with you guys, regardless of what happened last weekend, which we're going to talk about. But do us a favor. My name is Joe Miller. You can find me on Twitter at Joe Miller Wired. That guy sitting right next to me is Jay Spence the King. Do us a favor. Please hump that like. Please jump on that like button. Smash it, as all the young folks say. And subscribe, whatever platform you are consuming this vidcast on right now. Please like and please subscribe. Also, if you ever miss any of our content live on YouTube, you can go to any podcast platform and you can find all of our content there. Just search Overreaction Buffalo. We are also on every social media network. Just search Overreaction Buff. And then we have an awesome website, overreactionbuffalo.com, where it's actually got some cool stuff that nobody else features. A Bills on the Wire page, all the Bills press conferences are there, so it does a lot of cool stuff, and all of our stuff is there too, but it does a lot of cool stuff that other websites don't, fan sites don't. But it is so good to have every single one of you with us. Jay Spence the King, how are you feeling this fine evening?
I'm good. I'm actually surprisingly calm after a loss. Like normally I'm like finding reasons to be pissed off, like, yeah. And now I'm cool. I'm cool. I don't think this game told me as much bad as it did good, actually.
Oh, that's an interesting way of saying it. I would agree with that. And welcome real quick to all of those that are jumping into the comments section and joining us. Maybe they will remember this. So in regards to the Rams game, I'm nervous. I don't feel like I should be nervous, but I'm nervous. And I think what's doing it to me is Cooper Kupp is good. Puka Nacua is good. Kyron Williams is good. Matthew Stafford is really, really good. Now their defense probably leaves something to be desired. They could probably be had there, but there's so many teams this year that are good football teams that are just having bad years.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're always the one that they're going to wake up on. Does that make sense? Like, oh, they're gonna come back to life when they play us. That's what's going to happen.
Listen, I'm a Laker fan, so as a Laker fan, I feel like guys are injured all season and they get healthy against the Lakers and then they come out and drop 40. Isn't the same thing that happens with the Bills? The Bills, like you'll see a team be on a 5-game losing streak and then they come up against the Bills and it's like, oh, nope.
I hate to say it, but we were a shade prophetic. What in the? I don't know what to make of that, dude. There was one moment in particular. You were at the game, and there was one moment in that game in particular. I took notes on it because it was going to be. I thought that I was going to have to do the show, the Overreaction post-game show by myself because John was unavailable. Jerry didn't think he was going to be available. You were unavailable, so I'm like taking my standard Overreaction Joe notes. Halftime, they get to halftime and they miss the first half of the double dip. They go 3 and out on the second half of the double dip, and then the Rams go right down and score to take 17-point lead. I put that in my notes as like, that's the story of the game right there. And I almost texted you and said, head for the gate, bro. Just head for the gate. This game's over.
Now, the whole time I was there, I was actually not the whole time. The first half, I was like, come on, man. Like this looks like the story we kind of figured it would be. But then, as we went into the second half, I'm like, you know what? I still feel pretty good about this. I'm like, we're in good position here. I think Josh is going to be able to, just kind of have his way. And he did. But I think for me, the biggest takeaway from that game is that, look, we're going to have a bad game. Our defense isn't as great as we would hope or that we think. But more often than not, the Bills will figure out ways to either put the ball in Josh's hands to win it at the end, or they'll do what they have to do to where Josh is just making sure we're not in that position. But this week we ran up against a beast, in Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, 2 beasts that, it just wasn't our week. But listen, they had to score 44 points at home to beat the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen.
They actually, and their offense didn't outscore ours. They got the go-ahead touchdown was the stupid punt block for return. What was the atmosphere like in that stadium? I feel like neither team were necessarily in a silent count, but it felt like maybe they were both kind of utilizing one. I thought there was a lot of Bills fans supposed to be there, but it was back in. It got down to your point, Josh put on the Superman cape and did Josh Allen things that we're all have been used to in the past. It got into that 2.5 minute mark at the end of the game, and I was thinking back to 13 seconds, and I was like, I wonder how many touchdowns we're about to have in this game. It only ended up being 1, but still, I was like, this game has that making of neither team can be stopped. Like, are we going to get 3 touchdowns in the span of the next 2.5 minutes? What was the environment like?
You know what? To be honest with you, it felt a lot like, it felt like a central or a neutral game, I should say, where you have one of those games where, like during COVID year, where the Bills can't play at home, so they're in Detroit, and
Right.
it felt like that. And I tell you what, Bills fans, first of all, they travel well, man.
Oh
And
yeah. Oh yeah.
look, they set the atmosphere to help the Bills do whatever it was that they needed to do and get that momentum. But man, it was deflating every time, every drive. It just seemed like either Puka Nacua or Cooper Kupp was making a play that just made you kind of just, every time you wanted to stand up and cheer, every time you
Right.
felt like a big play was made, the very next moment it was, it was just like that, man.
I just don't understand it, and clearly I've talked a little bit about it through the week, and I'm sure you've read more than enough and watched the game again a couple times. I actually did not watch this game again, and I need to, because there was a decent amount of good stuff that happened in the game. It's just tough for me to figure out, like, what was the game plan against that offense. It just didn't feel like, I said this to either John or Jerry, I was like, it felt like they didn't take anything away. They didn't try to tie a single hand behind the Rams' back. It was almost like, and I got not scolded, but I got scoffed at, because it's like, oh, they had a game plan. But sometimes this isn't the game plan. Maybe we're just going to roll out and play defense, and hopefully you make a mistake. And the Rams didn't make a mistake in that football game.
But see, the thing about a team like the Rams and a team like this weekend coming up in the Lions that we're facing, the thing that scares me about them is that they don't have like a specific strength on offense.
Right.
Like they could have run the ball all day with Kyron Williams, or they could have just continued to pass the ball like they did with their receivers. And
Right.
you look at a team like Detroit, same thing. They're going to be able to run the ball with both those running backs. They have two good wide receivers, a good tight end.
Right.
So, like, the thing is, the Bills couldn't sell out and say, okay, we're going to just absolutely stop the run, because the pass was going to destroy them. Then they couldn't stop the pass because the run was going to destroy them. So then, really, they just sat back in zone and just got ate up in everything. And
no pass rush, and the Rams are booting out Stafford, so they've got him on the move. So even if they were getting home with the 4-man pass rush, it was like, where is he? Where's Waldo at this moment as he's rolling out and finding Puka Nacua, who's making like stupid all-world catches. It was interesting to me as well, Sean McDermott's comment about the lack of urgency. I didn't feel. Did you feel like you were there? Did you feel like they came out flat? I didn't feel like the Bills' defense came out flat as much as the Rams' offense came out on fire.
I did, honestly. It just didn't feel like there was any energy on defense at all for the Bills. It felt like the whole time they were on their heels. It was just backwards, and
Right.
it didn't feel like they could find their footing at any point during the game. And I think, to me, that's the biggest takeaway. I'm sure this week there was a ton of blame to go around, and I'm sure McDermott got his fair share. But in my opinion, this week isn't on McDermott as far as like coaching decisions. I know a lot of people want to talk about the timeout and whatever. For me, what I'm looking at there, if you want to put the blame on him, it's because he's a defensive-minded coach, and our defense couldn't stop them at all. Like we just could not stop them. But that was the scary part.
Yeah, somebody, I don't remember who it was. It may have been Jason from Scotland. It might have been today. The days are blurring together. It's been an interesting week for me. I've been not feeling super. I've been under the weather a little bit the last couple of days, so things are kind of blurring together. Somebody asked me what I thought the percentage chance was when they went down by 9. Right, so they're down by 9. What do you think the chances were? I was like, almost zero. You know what I mean? Like, there were, as much as it's like, how many touchdowns are we going to see in the next 2.5 minutes? The reality is when you look at that game down by 2 possessions, it's almost zero. Even if they punch that football in, if they punch it in on the first try with the Josh Allen Buffalo shove or tush push or whatever you want to call it, the reality is they still got to get the ball back. Now they did stop the Rams right on 3, so they're 3 and out of them there. And then it just became a nightmare. And that's where that whole sequence, I'm not as mad. I'm concerned about 9 men on special teams. As I'm concerned about the block punt. I'm concerned, which I heard today, somebody said to me, and I haven't had a chance to go look at it, that Reed Ferguson was signaling that they had an extra guy coming to the left. Pre-snap, Reed is signaling that, like, hey, I need some help here. And they didn't adjust. He didn't get his help, and he got rolled over, right? And then we saw what happened. So between that, the 9 people on special teams, so they're missing 2 guys, and then Codrington not even fielding the punt. And McDermott being asked on Monday, if you did it again, would you have Codrington field the punt? And he was like, we would do the whole play again. If I could, I'd do the whole thing over. And I'm not worried about any of that outside of it was just two big gaffes or three big gaffes in a game on special teams, which is, I don't want to say abnormal, but it's not normal either. It's somewhat concerning. We've seen some gaffes. I'm more concerned just about other things, and it's the defense, their ability. I mean, have you lost a shed of hope or faith in this defense going into a game like the Lions? What concerns you more? The Sean McDermott. I know he's getting the blame for it. The failure of execution at the end of the game that walked them off the field losers, which we've seen 100 times, not 100. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I'm talking a lot. Sorry, bro. Does that concern you more that creeped up and reared its ugly head again, the bad end of game situations, or is it like this defense really got manhandled against a good offensive football team, and we're going to see some good offensive football teams in the postseason?
No, see, for me, this game, and normally I'm the loudest one, like, oh, McDermott made the worst call in the history.
Yeah.
Let this guy go. I think when you're in a situation, you just have to kind of go with what the hand that you're dealt. So when you're down there, now, would I have called a Josh Allen sneak, even if it is the best play in our offense? No, not when you have to use when the clock is against you. I'm passing the ball, and I'll tell Josh, if there's any way for you to take off and run, go ahead and do that. But I'm not calling a sneak where we might end up short and then we have to use a timeout. But that's not the point. We didn't lose because of that. We lost because the defense could not stop their offense at all, and we lost because special teams, I'm not gonna sit here and say that it's terrible, but it hasn't been good. And since you and I started Hump Day 5-6 years ago, I've been screaming, special teams matter too. Special teams matter too. And I talk about it so often. And this year I've kind of stopped. But you're seeing in moments we saw last season against the Broncos, special teams. And look, we gotta going into the playoffs, you always seem to lose the games based on what your weaknesses are during the season. And I tell you what, last year we lost with the DeMar. I'm not going to go there again. We lost with special teams. And I think, we got to figure this out going into the playoffs. I'm more confident than ever that I'm not scared of I'm not scared of any team in the playoffs, because I see what Josh Allen really can do, even without having like that guy. Like to do what this guy did. And I don't know if you have last week's predictions ready too.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't like on it, but I was on it. And like just to see him do that is just insane, dude. Like it's insane.
Yeah. So I said 330 for Josh in the air, 3 touchdowns. I actually had him for an interception. My score prediction was 30-27. I was way off. You had 375 through the air. I think you said three touchdowns through the air, and I think you said a fourth like on the ground. So you had 4 total touchdowns.
I was just short to 2 rushing.
Yeah. 37. We're gonna fault you on that one. We're gonna fault you on predicting Josh to do something no quarterback has ever done in the history of the NFL.
Like, dude, like what in the heck? It was incredible, man.
I think what's amazing to me, as we wrap up the conversation about this Rams game and put it to bed, that nobody's talking about is the fact that Codrington didn't field that punt. Like, it's a 3% chance to in 2024 to make or execute an onside kick. 3% chance. It's less than that, way less than that, to field a punt with no time left and score a touchdown, because that's what would have to have happened, or a defensive penalty. I guess there would be an untimed down if there was a defensive penalty. But bro didn't even field the punt. He didn't even like. They're punting the ball with 4 seconds left or 6 seconds left, and the ball gets kicked. It's on the goal line. It's inside the 5, and he's like running away from it.
And see, to me, it's coaching. You have to, in those situations, either the team is coached to know what to do or they're not.
That's beyond a TPS report. Did you get that memo, right? Going back to Office Space, the movie. Like, situational awareness. How does he not realize I got to catch this football?
And by coaching, I'm not even yelling about McDermott there. Now, you can and say, well, McDermott has to make sure his coordinator. Okay, that's fine. But to me, at this point, I think I know who the next coordinator that's going to be sacrificed at some point would be. I think it's special teams.
I feel like I talked to Vic Carucci about it yesterday on the beat. McDermott was not normal in his post-game presser. I have a feeling there was clearly some going at it, not even at each other. There probably was some come to Jesus type stuff happening and that might have been one of them. Like, how do you, because he's the one that's got to stand out there and take the heat for it, right? And how did your punter not field the punt? There's 5 seconds left. They kick the ball. It's in the air for 3.5 seconds. It hits the ground as the clock turns 0, and your punter's headed, or your punt catcher's headed for the sidelines. And nobody's talking about it. Like, nobody's talking about that gap. That's a huge mistake. That's about as big of a mistake.
I just think, I mean, it's huge, but at the same time, it's like the game was over anyway. Like, the chances of him running it back were.
But you still got a chance. Like,
yeah, but I'm just saying, like, it's like
chipping a chair, bro. Like, right, chipping a chair.
I hear you. I just to me, I'm less concerned about that than I am that we just couldn't stop their defense.
And that was the original question, right? So is it more about execution gaffes at the end of the game, or is it more about, hey, this is concerning, a little bit alarming that they beat us up as good as they did? And I think I'm with you. I think I'm more on the side of hold on. Yeah. Right, this coming weekend against the Lions, because the Lions, Dan Campbell isn't going to be nice about it. Like, Dan Campbell is going to go for it on 4th and 7 when he shouldn't, or 4th and 5 when he should kick the field goal, bro.
But now, you know what? One thing I will say about Sean McDermott, and what I will say about Josh Allen, it's not common that we lose a football game and then we turn around and lose another football game that following week. Normally, when the Buffalo Bills take a loss, they figure out, either they learn from the mistakes, like Sean McDermott says every week, or they come in motivated. And I'm hoping that they do both of those things this week, because we're facing a team again that's, to me, they're built I don't want to say it's a carbon copy of what they have out in LA, but it's very similar. The only difference is they have 2 good running backs instead of 1, and you can throw on a all-pro tight end in there. Like, they just have it all.
Yeah, and their quarterback is a little more prone to make mistakes, right? Matthew Stafford is an interesting prospect. Not prospect. He's obviously more than a prospect. He's an interesting football player in as much as he has the ability to just turn it on. He has the ability to go God mode on you, and he did in that football game. Like, every single pass he made was pretty much perfect. Whereas Goff is going to throw flutter balls. He's going to throw flutter balls to excellent receivers in Laporta, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and James Williamson. Like, he's going to throw flutter balls, but he could get picked off 4 times and win. Where was it, 5? Whatever it was. I mean, he is. I feel like in this game they're going to have to pressure. They're going to have to get. And I haven't looked at numbers. I'm not an analytics guy to find out how good Jared Goff is against the blitz and yada yada yada. But they're going to have to do something to rattle him.
Is his numbers? I don't think his numbers are bad at all this year. Like, even like
they're not.
Any way.
They're not.
He's in any way. I don't think he has many turnovers. I don't think he has.
He has 10. I saw side by side today. He's got a passer rating of 106 to Josh's 101. He's 300 or 400 yards behind Josh in passing. Josh has 24 touchdowns passing or something like that, and he's got, I think, 15, and then it's 10-5 in interceptions. So okay. Josh has 5 and he has 10. But it's and 4 or 5 of those came in one game, right? Yeah. So but yeah, I feel like they're gonna have to, yeah. So you keep throwing these up here, and I apologize I'm not reading them. Do you want me to read them, or
David, no, it's all good. I'm just making sure that we still interact with our folk in the comments. That's all.
Sorry. I'm just having a conversation with my dude. Sorry. David Reed said, do you want to throw that back up there? David Reed said, part of me says they lost 2 in a row and then won 7 in a row. So this is the big number. Sean McDermott teams don't lose 3 games in a row ever. They win out of the bye always, and they never lose 3 in a row. If we lose 2 in a row again, you know that what winning 7 in a row means. It means Super Bowl, which that was the show graphic today. Is this a Super Bowl preview? Which I think it would be amazing. So let's get into this game a little bit. Before we do, let's talk injuries. Everybody was a full participant in this game outside of a Rasul Douglas, who has a knee. Clearly, he got man-on-man or team-on-team injury from Taylor Rapp, who hit him in the ribs, but this says knee. They had a walkthrough today. He couldn't even perform the walkthrough. Taylor Rapp also has a neck and a shoulder. He did not participate either today. And then it looks like we're going to be getting back Smoot. We're going to be getting back Kincaid. We're going to be getting back Coleman. Injury-wise, it looks good, but if you don't have Rasul Douglas, and it's funny because we went into the first Dolphins game without a bunch of guys, right? And smoked them. So as much as it's like, this is a problem, maybe it's not. I mean, maybe they can figure it out.
And this past Sunday, I mean, with Douglas in there, you see with the speed of those receivers, it didn't matter. I think this is one of those games where we're going to need, we need speed on the field. So,
Yeah.
I want Elam in, not because I think Elam's a better cornerback. I'm not saying put him in over Douglas, but you need the speed. We were getting cooked. Bro. Like it wasn't even fair.
Did you see Coach's comments on Elam today? He was asked about that. Why Jamar Ingram over Elam? And he said that he didn't say in as many words, he basically said that it's a week-to-week competition between these guys, meaning Jamar Ingram, your Elam, and all the other guys that are kind of like backups. And Elam just isn't winning in practice to put him in a situation. It's not about Elam performing bad in practice. It's about the other guys just performing so well in practice. So it just didn't sound overly promising from Coach. He cleaned it up about as nice as he could, right? To say that he's just not the guy that we want on the field, which
I just feel like they've been crapping on that guy since we got him here. You know what I mean? Like I just feel like he hasn't been given a fair shake.
It is. I think it goes back to what we joked about last week with Brian Winters and some other guys like that they like this guy practices really, really well. And when the game starts, they don't give any credence to the Brett Favre-ism of being a gamer. Like Brett Favre was known for not being a great practice player, but you put him on the football field and like he loses his mind. I have a feeling that it's more one of those scenarios because even when Elam has played, I don't feel like Elam has been a problem. Do you?
No. Obviously there's been moments when he has gotten in there where you give up a big play here, give a big play there, but then he's also had moments where he's made a big play here, made a big play
Same
there.
game.
So,
the last game that he had a kind of got beat bad. He had an interception in that game.
Turned around, got an interception in the end zone. So, right. I would like to see him get an opportunity, and especially against teams like this where you have speed. I feel like, the reason why we drafted him initially is because we were trying to compete with the Chiefs when they still had Tyreek Hill. And look, now we got Tyreek Hill in our division twice a year. We don't quite need him because we're just better than the Dolphins, so it doesn't matter. But when you're going up against teams like, shout out to the Dolphins for being ass. Same thing with the Jets. Shout out to y'all. But when you're going up against a team like the Lions, man, you need that speed. So I'm hoping that he gets out there and we can, really. I don't want 2 weeks in a row of what we just saw. I don't want that.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to get that either. It'll be interesting to see where are you at on the comment about we should have ran the ball more, because I understand I'm vexed, right? Just on the idea of I get the philosophy. Sorry. I don't know what I was trying to say that made me say philosophy. I get the philosophy of you run the ball, you play balanced offense. We've seen it work this year. It keeps the other opposing team's offense off the field. It also gives your defense a chance to rest. Keeps your defense off the field. So it's complementary football to the truest form. But when the other team is scoring at will, I don't know at what point are you, hey, we need to slow this game down. Well, they're up by 17. Yeah, but we need to slow this game down and run the ball more. Coach, they're up by 17. The only option we have here is 17 in the backfield, just losing his absolute mind in this football game. Where are you at on that? So the idea of like we should have ran the ball more.
Listen, Jesus, Josh, and Chris Hemsworth. Okay, like that's it. Okay, these are the three white men in my life. It's Jesus, Josh, and Chris Hemsworth. And
Thor.
Look, and yeah, it's Thor. It's Thor. And look, when you see Josh do what he did this Sunday, I don't care what the situation is. This is one of those times when like you have certain quarterbacks where it doesn't matter who's on your team. It doesn't matter what the game plan should be. You don't take the ball out of their hands. You just don't. And we saw Josh Allen do something Sunday that no quarterback in history has done. And if your defense could have made two stops, Josh would have won. You don't lose a game when you score 42 freaking points in the NFL. But guess what? Yeah. We did. Why? Yeah. Because our defense couldn't stop. There's nothing to complain. Okay, you want to run the ball more with your running backs and you want to have more yards on the ground. I get it. But guess what? You scored 42 points. You can't complain when you score 42 points. It's like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? It's just like, I don't understand. You know, it's like you want to nitpick about something that was so efficient and so amazing and so potent. Like, you just got to find something. Well, yep, we scored 42 points, but we didn't. James Cook, he only got us 3 points on fantasy. Oh, that's who 42 points, Joe? You know what I'm saying? So like, the people that have that complaint, it's like, no, focus your attention on that defense. If the defense did half the things that Josh was able to do on offense, we would have won that game by 21 points easily. And we would have been sitting pretty, really trying to figure out if we still got a shot at winning this 1 seed, because all we need is the Chiefs to lose 1 game. Instead, now it's looking like we got the 2.
We got to win out, and they got to lose 2 games, which makes it definitely a little more difficult. Although that team is, I don't even know that there's words for what that team is. The Chiefs. Yeah. So on a lighter note, last week we had somebody in the comment section. I don't know if he's with us tonight or not, but he made the comment in the chat comment of less Steph, less stress. And I'm trying to pull it up. There it is. So we went ahead, Overreaction did, and we got a hold of Buff on Weck, and we had to make us a t-shirt that is just that. So if and I would say that Josh Allen, we all agree, is playing far more free as a quarterback. And if you are one of the ones that want to, at least for a season, have a little bit of fun with just this concept of Josh Allen playing stress-free, and believing that it's because less Steph, less stress, you can follow that link that I just threw into the comment, the chat section. And yeah, you can get yourself that t-shirt from the Buff on Weck Overreaction store. So there's some other t-shirts there too, but
I just wonder what's on that guy's mind right now, you know? And this is no shade from me. Everybody knows I love Steph. Like, I'm one of the ones that still kind of like try to root for him, and but like, to bet on yourself after running yourself out of a city that loved you, they gave you the contract, they gave you the targets. You got the numbers every year. You always were in the conversation to be one of the top teams in your conference, and then you leave and you bet on yourself, and now you're out. And now the same team that you were so down on, and you try to make it seem like it was us. It was everybody in the locker room. It was Josh. It was the coach. Guess what? Now they're 10-3, and you're unfortunately at home recovering, and your team is trying to hopefully still, I don't know. It just sucks, man. Like, I feel for the guy, but I really wonder what's like his train of thought when it comes to like the last 365 days.
I would say that you and I both have met, as has everybody in the comments section, encountered people in their lives that are always going to bet on themselves. And as much as it can be me against the world, I'm going to bet on myself to win always. Generally, those people, it's never their fault. So regardless of what happens, at the end of the day, it's not, in Steph's mind, it's not his fault.
But Joe, at what point when you bet on yourself and win is it a win? Like, he bet on himself in Minnesota. He got out of there. He got to Buffalo. He got the contract. Like, he got the extension.
He got 2 of them.
He got 2 of them. He got the numbers. He had 100 catches every season. He had 1,000 yards every season. There was no more targeted player in the time that he was with Josh Allen than any other player in the league than Stephon Diggs. So, like, at what point is it enough? Like, when do you win?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, that, it bothers me because I think about it now, and it's like, I think the way this team is playing now, and Steph he's not a Justin Jefferson. He's not Jamar Chase at this point. But still, if a Stephon Diggs talent was with these receivers and this offense, like, it would just be insanely scary to think about what we could be. But no, I'm got to go to Houston.
You brought up Justin Jefferson, and that to me evokes more confusion and vexing inside of me, because for a long time I loved Steph, and it was like I would never trade Steph for Justin Jefferson, and now I'm just like Josh Allen and Justin Jefferson from the time Justin was a rookie.
That was pretty nice.
It would be and the Bills could have had him, right? So I mean,
like, literally, we got Steph for him. I tell you what, I wouldn't be too upset to look at T. Higgins this summer coming up, but
it'll be interesting to see what the Bills do. But let's talk about this Lions game real quick as far as that goes. Which one of those guys scares you the most? For me, it's David Montgomery.
Jameson Williams scares the crap out of me.
Yeah, I would agree. I have just watched, so not even like watched highlights. I've watched games where David Montgomery has just decided, you know what? I'm going to finish this game. on this
Yeah.
drive. And they hand him the ball 9 times. And he just goes straight down the field and puts him in scoring range, or he scores a touchdown. And against this run, I don't know what you pick. I feel like this is another one of those games. Which hand are you tying behind the Lions' back? You're probably taking away the run game, right? And you're making Jared Goff beat you.
You're taking away the run game. When have the Bills taken away the run game from a
That's what
good
you're
running
focusing
team
on.
this
So
year?
that's what you're attempting to take away the run game, and they've done okay against some running backs in this league. So, but
Well, see, my thing with Jameson Williams is that like he's a hybrid Puka Nacua. Like he's like not fully like that
yeah,
good, but he's that good. Like once he
yeah,
gets the ball with any type of space, he has the speed and the quickness to make anybody miss. He's the
yep.
guy that can make that play in the, you remember the 13-second game when Tyreek Hill took that 5-yard slant to the house? That's Jameson Williams, and he can do it every time. And right now, if you look at what we just did Sunday, that's kind of like that's what our defense looks like against those type of receivers right now.
It'll be interesting to see how this Bills defense responds in this football game.
I got
Yeah,
faith.
I feel like I'm not worried. Are you worried about Josh at all? Are you worried about? So even as we talk through like this defense, I'm getting my pen ready for our predictions. Even as we talk through this defense, we talk through what happened in 44-42, and had they not blocked a field goal and scored or blocked a punt and scored a touchdown, then we win that game. Still, we scored 42 points and lost, and only team in NFL history to have a quarterback score or to score 42 points and not have a turnover and lose a game. First time in history that's happened. So the Bills actually have 2 records from that football game. And Josh at the podium post game was just, and I know that today post game he was better, but it's all my fault. It's all my fault. It's like, bro. And maybe there's a matter of, well, that's what he's supposed to do. He's the leader of the team. I'm not saying you walk out to the podium and be like, yo, dude, I scored 6 touchdowns. What do you want from me? But I didn't do enough. What more could he have done? So do you feel like it's going to creep into his psyche at some point? Like if this happens again, he has an all-world game and they score 44 points and lose 45-44?
No, I have zero concern about Josh. Like I think he's wired in a way where he's gonna like compete with himself. Because at this
Mhm.
point he's not competing with anybody out there. Like it's himself. He wants to be better every
Right,
single
right.
play, every single game. So I think you're gonna see a drive in Josh. Like I'm like we got one, man. Like we got one, Joe. Like ain't it fun? Like
Wild
we
Strange
finally got one, dude. And so I just think he's gonna be that. My concern with this game on offense has nothing to do with them. My concern actually this game, because I think you started to see um in certain moments, I need us to be under control. Sean McDermott's football teams are typically under control. We don't make not mental mistakes. We don't get a bunch of the penalties, but I'm starting to see, and it's not a lot of them, but you'll see 1 or 2 here or there in certain moments when I feel like they shouldn't be there. I need Dion to stop. Look, I get it. The Jets games is fun because we're beating them normally. We're blowing them out or whatever. But look, we got it. Those 15-yarders or those those illegal hands to the face and all that stuff, we got to, those things concern me against really good teams, and we're getting to that point where we can't make those mistakes every week.
Yeah, and obviously it was assessed on the point after attempt, of which we're not talking about Tyler Bass at all, right?
Well, I hope we don't this weekend either because he's in the dome. So, I
Right.
don't want to talk about him until he's outside, and then I want to really check on him. He's supposed to
Right.
make these kicks. Like
Yeah.
you're supposed to make these. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But you're not wrong as far as that goes. And let's not even get into the officiating in this football game. It was
Dude.
I think I told you right, 93% of the money was on the Bills to beat the spread. And referees, let's be honest, if there's ever a take, if somebody's ever on the take, it's not like they're gonna make every call go against the team that they're on the take for. It just has to be that one 4th down false start that was a touchdown that doesn't get
Well,
called.
see, I didn't do it either. Right before the game, you texted me. We were talking about that. You're like, dude, 93%. And I was like, I should bet on the Rams just because I didn't
Yep.
do it. Like I was just saying it, and I should have did it. Damn it, I should have did it, Joe.
93% of the money was on the Buffalo. I don't know how often that happens, but it's not like the Bills were playing the Carolina Panthers, but there was that whole thing that was actually on. They were talking about it during the weekend. The Carolina Panther or some guy had the had a $3 million bet to win $400,000 on whoever the Panthers were playing against. I don't remember off the top of my head, but like they were talking about it during the broadcast, and I'm like, this is getting a little too close for me. Like,
I think ESPN needs to relax. Like
yeah,
I don't like well, yeah, that's a different conversation. Never mind. But
but
I
you
don't
know,
like
you know what I'm saying. Like, I don't need the
yeah.
broadcasters bringing this up and talking about it. It was on Red Zone. He was talking about it. Scott Hansen was talking about it. It's just like, yeah, can we not talk about that, because I've already got with the way the Chiefs are winning and the things that are going on there, and yeah,
But
I
no,
don't
I
need.
tell you what, there was a few calls that were like clearly, and I'm not saying clearly missed, like they on purpose didn't want to call them or whatever, but I mean like they were missed, and I just don't understand. I just don't understand, man. That false start at the end, it was clear. It was clear.
And so was the
Right.
So Amari Cooper's running down the field. I think it was Amari Cooper, right? It was Amari Cooper.
That was interference.
The defensive back is holding his back pad, like, which is the pad at the bottom that connects to the bottom of the shoulder pads. It's a back pad, holding onto it and running down the field with him. It's illegal contact and it's defensive holding up until the ball is in the air. And that was the other thing too, is they kept, and I tweeted about it, they kept calling interference for balls that weren't thrown yet. It's like, that's not interference. That's 5-yard first down, not spot foul. Anyway, literally trucking down the field with him, and they bring on the referee, former
Right.
official
He's like,
guy.
nope, that's a good pickup. That's a good flag pickup.
What? That's a good non-call. It's like, what? Oh, I said, let's not talk about the officiating. And here we are talking about the officiating. Oh, it's just like, what is happening? I've tweeted at NFL officiating a lot this year. In years past, they have responded to me. In years past, where like I'll pull up a holding thing or a non-holding thing, and they'll like respond and say why it was holding or wasn't holding. They've been pretty quiet this year. So,
yeah, I'm shocked they haven't blocked you yet.
No, I was gonna name names. Other people have, but but NFL officiating has not. All right, Josh Allen's stat line for this Lions football game.
I don't think we're going to get a 6-touchdown game again, but I think it's going to be similar to last week as far as.
Oh, ye of little faith.
Well, I mean, that's just, man. It's like, I still can't believe it happened. Like, that's Madden stuff. That's Madden stuff. I'm going to go 325. I'm going to go 40 on the ground. I'm going to say 2 in the air and 1 on the ground. And Cook will have 1.
2 passing, 1 rushing. He's throwing Cook in there. I see how you are. So you got 4 touchdowns at least from the Buffalo Bills. And then game prediction, score prediction.
I think Davis going to get busy too. I think Ray Davis going to have a rushing touchdown. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, and I think we beat them by a touchdown.
I need numbers.
Why are you doing this to me?
I'll wait. I'll let you think about. I'll let you stew for a minute.
Oh, 38. We're going to go 38-31.
That would be a touchdown. 38-31 Bills. Yeah, I don't even know what to expect. I feel like the Bills defense is going to come out, and I think that they're going to have a point to prove. I think the coach is going to have them amped up. Josh Allen's stat line first. I bet you I'm going to take your number from last week, which I think was 340. I think Josh Allen has 340. I think he's 2-1, like you said. So we're pretty much even on that. Score prediction. What would it mean to the NFL in a Super Bowl preview? Potential Super Bowl preview. What are they talking about on Good Morning Football, First Take, The Facility, all those shows if the Bills beat the Lions by 3 possessions, like 17 points?
That's a conversation.
I'm taking 42-25 Buffalo. It's going on the television, or it's going on the monitor. Post-it note is on the monitor.
Okay. Listen, if that happens, listen, if the defense can do their job.
I'm crazy. I'm a homer.
If we win the game like that, I am going to come on the show and proclaim that we are going to the Super Bowl and we're going to win it.
Well, I'm ready for that talk. I was ready for that talk last week, but unfortunately we then played the Rams and it didn't go as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Any final comments before I get us out of here?
No, man. Look, go Bills. Don't be discouraged by the loss. You know, I know it was an ugly loss and I know we wanted to win it. But at the same time, it was a beautiful loss if you can look at it that way. You got to watch your quarterback make history, And you also got to see that, look, he's still that guy that he was during the 13 seconds game on the sideline, pumped up. He has that notch. He has that. He can take it to that gear that not a lot of quarterbacks can. He's making throws now that, like, dude, the needles that he was threading, so be encouraged about it. We already have the spot in the tournament locked up. Not to say that we can lose every game and it doesn't matter, but we're in a tournament. We're going to be there. It's okay. Let these guys kind of get loose, figure it out. Enjoy this weekend, man. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I said it to right off the top on Monday night. I said the Bills are still AFC East champions. They can't take it away from them until next year. So that's all that matters. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning into the Hump Day Hotline on the Overreaction Sports Network, powered by Believe. My name is Joe Miller. That over there is Jay Spence the King. Please do us a favor. Please like, please subscribe, follow us on all of our socials, do all that stuff. Tell a friend. Help us to get our numbers up and come back. Next week? Actually, come back tomorrow. The Big O Show with Jerry Ostrowski is on tomorrow at 8 o'clock live. He'll have Dr. Brad Bowen on to talk about injuries. He also will give you his 5 keys to the game like he does every single week. And last week, he was dead nuts. Every single one of his keys was exactly what happened in that, or what didn't happen in that football game. So if you want a good preview for the Bills-Lions from a former Buffalo Bill, a former NFL player, guy that's really, really intelligent, tune in tomorrow, 8 o'clock, the Big O Show with Jerry Ostrowski. But for me, for Jay Spence the King, for John, for Jerry, for all of us here at Overreaction, we love you guys. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.